Hello, friends. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Prasad, your host, and today we are tackling a topic that affects millions of individuals and families worldwide: effective debt management. Every individual, no matter how much wealth he has, he would undergo some amount of debt in his life. And debt can be a significant financial challenge, but it's one that can be conquered with the right strategies and mindset. So, before we dive into the world of debt management, and if you are enjoying our podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review. Your support helps us reach more people seeking financial guidance. Let us begin by understanding the various types of debt. You might be familiar with some of these. Credit card debt, the invisible debt as I call it. You never know how much you have spent and how much you have to pay back. This debt is accompanied by a very high interest burden. I call it burden. If you don't pay the minimum dues within the stipulated time, you would be charged with finance charges which are exorbitant. The second type of loans are mortgages, typically home loans with long repayment terms. They are often associated with lower interest rates, but the tenure of these loans is very long. So there are ways and means by which you can repay all these mortgages much earlier than their stipulated time and save a lot of money on the interest cost. Personal loans. The young generation of today has got quick access to personal loans. These are unsecured loans for various purposes. Nowadays there are finance companies who are paying you money to buy anything and everything. So these are also some of the loans which carry a reasonably high burden, high interest cost and high upfront payment. Auto loans, again these are similar to mortgages. They come with long repayment term, typically 5 years, 7 years as well. Medical debt. This would be an emergency health scare that leads to creation of this kind of loans called as medical debt. Student loans, these are pretty common nowadays. Where students want to go for higher education, they invariably go for education loans. Many banks schemes are available for students to pursue higher education. But mind you, they have a moratorium period also to repay after a certain period of time, but the interest keeps on accumulating and that can be a challenge later. So understanding the type of debt you have, it is crucial to develop a strategy for managing and reducing it effectively. So what is the impact of debt on financial health? So debt isn't just about the money you owe. It has a significant impact on your overall financial health and at times on your own physical, mental, emotional health as well. High debt can lead to interest payments. So you are paying more than the principal amount due to interest. So in case of mortgages, etc., the amount of interest outgo that happens over a period of time is significantly higher than the principal that you have taken back. So you have to keep that in your mind, and you should find out ways and means to reduce that interest burden by repaying principals by bullet payments or whatever. There are different strategies we'll talk about, but you have to clear that loan as early as possible. Non-payment can lead to a credit score damage. Nowadays, credit score is very important for you to avail loans and to maintain your credit score is an indication of your financial health. So if you have missed out a payment, if you have made the payment late, this will certainly affect your credit score. Okay. And reduce financial flexibility. The more burden you are with loans, you have significant limitations about what you can actually do. I know many of my friends who wanted to get out of their job and start something of their own, a venture, a side hustle, a small business, but unfortunately they are so burdened in their financial loans, home loan, mortgages, vehicle loans, home improvement loans, vehicle loans, medical loans, so on and so forth, that they just don't have enough space, time, and the flexibility, the monetary flexibility to do anything else. So to drive the point home, I'll share some real life success stories of individuals who successfully managed and reduced their debt burden to improve their financial lives. Strategies for effective debt management. Let's talk about, yes, we understand that loans are there everywhere. Loans are, you cannot avoid loans. You will have to take loans at some point of time to meet certain aspects or to meet certain aspirations of your life. But let's be practical. I mean, you can certainly effectively manage and reduce the debt. So let's talk about some strategies to consider. So creating a budget and a debt repayment plan. Understanding that I have a debt and I have to repay is the first step in making sure that you start making a plan to repay and reduce it at frequent intervals. You need to decide the timeline within which you will get rid of your debt. So creating a budget and a debt repayment plan. Start by understanding your financial situation and developing a debt repayment plan. Every single penny counts. Every single penny you repay will help you in reducing your debt, reducing the interest burden also, and saving on time as well. Prioritizing the high interest debt. So if you have got multiple debts, it is important that you prioritize high interest rates that you should get rid of faster and earlier. Tackle the debts with high interest rate first. I mean, that is pretty simple, but most often, people fail to recognize that. I remember a colleague of mine who was doing everything on credit cards, and he was even for his home loan he had taken some because there was a shortfall. He purchased money from credit card. Purchased in the sense he took a loan on credit card. What happened was he was paying almost 3.5% every month just because he had to repay the credit card amounts. Eventually, when we spoke over a period after some time, and he said he is in great distress because of the interest payments. My suggestion to him was to refinance that high cost debt, convert it into maybe a personal loan which has a lower cost at 15% or 14%, or eventually try to get a home improvement loan or a top-up home loan which will help him reduce the interest burden and repay the credit card, which he felt was a great advice, and he went ahead and spoke to his bankers. Again, there is a lot of hesitation with people to talk to bankers for a top-up loan or whatever, and find out ways. Actually, the bankers will certainly provide you with a lot of assistance in doing so. He actually brought down his interest rate from almost 30-35%, annualized 30-35% to maybe 9% or so, 9 or 10%, which was a significant amount of saving, and he had spare money also. So this is how you can approach debt consolidation. Again, in the earlier example that I mentioned, you can consolidate multiple debts, repay that debt by taking one single debt which might be at a lower cost, so that it helps in reducing the hassles of managing multiple debts at the same time. So you can explore options like personal loans or balance transfers to consolidate high interest debt. Most often rather, you have multiple credit cards and you keep purchasing money on multiple cards. So banks do offer balance transfer at a reduced cost, or even converting those high spend expenses into EMIs, which is also very helpful in reducing your debt burden. Negotiating with the creditors. Don't be afraid to communicate with your creditors and negotiate better terms. Banks are doing their business. You are also have to protect or safeguard your interest as well. You have to negotiate very hard with your bankers to ensure that your burden is reduced. The snowball versus the avalanche method. Learn about these two popular debt repayment strategies and choose the one that suits your situation. We'll talk about the snowball and the avalanche method in the subsequent podcast, but these two methods that you should be aware of, the snowball method and the avalanche method, which will help you in reducing your debt burden significantly. Debt consolidation and refinancing. Debt consolidation and refinancing are options for managing debt. These approaches can help you simplify your payments and potentially reduce your interest debt. However, they come with their own considerations and risks. We'll explore when it makes sense to consider debt consolidation or refinancing and when it may not be the best choice for your situation. You have to evaluate when does it make sense to consolidate debts. Okay, if that consolidation leads to a significant saving of money by way of interest or a quick repayment of your principal or reduction of time horizon, then I think you should evaluate the right options. Avoiding debt traps and staying debt free. I think being debt free is the most important aspect that every individual should aim for or aspire for. We are so aspirational, we want everything that others have. That's the big challenge, or that's the big problem that everybody is facing right now. I have an Apple iPhone. My friend has an Apple iPad. I would like to have an Apple iPad. I have an Apple. Start to live within your limits. That will actually solve most of the problems. But avoiding debt traps is just as important as reducing debts. Don't splurge your money on several things that are merely aspirational and carry no value. Don't put your money in depreciating assets. Okay. How to avoid falling back into debt and maintaining a debt-free lifestyle is you should find out a way to do that. It should be a way of life. Build emergency funds. Start building emergency funds from today. Improving your financial literacy. Find out and explore what are the various options, what are the various types of loans, what are the various terms that are used. This is very important. Financial literacy can help you in avoiding debt traps and staying debt free. The zero interest loan, okay, that is that interest loan without any interest charges, is a debt trap. Many people fall for it. They buy expensive mobile phones, laptops, iPads and so on and so forth, not noticing that the entire amount of interest or the financial charges are taken upfront by these financial companies, and you keep repaying the principal later. But that is a debt trap that you should certainly avoid. And most importantly, you should create a sustainable budget. That is very important. A budget will give you a great understanding about how much and what are your sources of income or inflows of money, and what are the outflows of money, and is there any shortfall or is there any surplus. Understanding this quadrants of your income, expenses, savings, shortfall is very important. So we have spoken about the debt management. There are several aspects that we will cover as we go into the next podcast. But debt traps is something that you should avoid. Repayment of your debts will give you fast repayment of your debts. Relieving yourself from the interest burdens and the finance charges will give you amazing flexibility, financial flexibility to do several other things. So that's it for now, my friends. Let's catch up in the next podcast, which will again be on an interesting topic. In the meantime, start learning a few things about finance. And please share your comments, subscribe to the channel, and maybe share your stories as well on the wall. Thank you very much.